All right, we are recording. So let me go ahead and introduce myself and then my other teammate that is here. My name is Chelsea Cody, and I am a part of the digital learning team. If you have been seeing our name pop up a little bit around and you don't know who we are, before this whole season got a little bit hectic, so back in March, I actually joined the digital learning team in August, not knowing that I would be fulfilling such an important role going into everything. But we were invited by Kathy and then some of your leads, pathologists, to come in and talk a little bit about what Canvas could look like for you guys. And then Martine is also here. Martine, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and say howdy, I'll stop talking for a second.
Hey everybody, excited to be here with you. Just let us know whatever you need. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to kind of continue to build your skill in Canvas. And just remember, we only eat the elephant one bite at a time. So this process is going to take some time. I'll be honest with you, I'm exactly 15 days ahead of you in regards to knowledge. And so this is definitely going to be a process of learning together.
I love her saying with that, we eat an elephant one bite at a time, mostly because I love elephants, but also it's so true. And we have to give ourselves I'm going to go ahead and I'll ask this. Mally is one of ours. She must just not be signed in. I know who Mally is. I'm going to let her in. I'm going to go ahead and drop in the chat right now a link to the slide deck we're going to be using today. Before you click on this link, just like if you've seen in other curriculum documents, it's going to ask you to make a copy. And the reason why I want you to make a copy of this is you can go ahead and take notes on it as we go. It's actually your version to edit instead of you using my version and only being able to look at it. So let's go ahead and click on that and open. And make sure that we're able to open that document. Stacy, just because you're at the top of my list, were you able to access and open that document to make your own copy?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure before I start talking that we're all on there. And then just so you know that today we will also have Brian Dean joining us. Yes, Miss Martine?
If you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Sorry about that, Chelsea.
No, that's perfect. And she is actually leading into what I was going to talk about next. If you have any question at all while I'm going, if there's something you'd like me to go back over, or when Brian comes in and you're wondering who is this, you can even ask that in the chat. If you type your question there in the chat, Martine will kind of answer those questions as we're going throughout. And then just like she did, she can stop me as I'm presenting and say, hey, can you actually take a little bit more time to answer this question? So just getting used to answering the questions, dropping those in the chat. Go ahead and tell me, let's see, what campus you're at and what grade levels you are working with. And if you're at 2 campuses, that's okay. You can put both of them. That's fine. But go ahead and just sound off over there in the chat with what campus you're at and then what grades you're working with. Awesome. All right, we got our chat up and going. It's functioning. We know where it's at. We know where we can put all of our questions. Perfect. And then I will give this shout out. I'm a little bit excited to be here with speech pathologists, mostly because my mom is a speech pathologist and she's having to sit here and listen to me uninterrupted this whole time. It's like the moment I've been waiting for my entire life. So I'm glad this is being recorded. I can come back and look at this later. Okay. You can also, as we're working, if you've got questions that aren't necessarily about that, probably not questions about my mom or our life, you can ask those too. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And then when Brian hops in, I will have him take over. If you haven't met Brian Dean, he is also awesome. So on the slide deck, which is what you can see right now, the first thing I have up is our goals. Okay. I want to talk about what our goals are for today, because this is going to frame everything we're doing. So our first thing is, if you haven't already set up your Canvas course, okay, if you're not already putting in students or contacting students, we're going to look at it from the ground up. Okay, what we could recommend, some ways you could possibly set it up, some things you might want to add. But this does not mean that you have to use it the way that I'm showing. So hopefully after looking at the way that we're setting it up, maybe it triggers some ideas for you. It might give you some extra tips and tricks that you can then take and apply to your course, because you guys are the content experts. Your speech path expertise is what you really need to combine with what we're showing you on Canvas. And then we're going to talk about connecting the necessary programs. So using Google Meets when you're doing that virtual therapy, and then connecting Seesaw if you're with that pre-K through 2 section. Okay, talking about Seesaw and how our students are going to get to Seesaw. And then finally, if you have students that aren't necessarily accessing virtual therapy, and this is something you'd want to talk about with Miss Kathy as well, is how would you provide activities with inside Canvas? So I'm going to show you how you would assign activities, where you would put them in the modules, but where those will be at. And I just saw we needed the slide deck again. And there is the link in the chat one more time. And then I put on there again, practice makes progress. If you have not adopted some kind of grit, some kind of growth mindset, a huge thing right now is give yourself the grace and space you would give your students. We're all walking through this together. So first question you may have is, what is an LMS? What is a learning management system? Because if you keep hearing that Canvas is an LMS, you're probably thinking, well, I don't know what that is in the first place. Okay, an LMS is the software system that kind of houses all of our digital instruction. So if you think back to the closure, you may, if you were at an elementary school, so pre-K through 5, or if you were at secondary, okay, you may have only used Google Classroom. But Google Classroom is what we use for secondary 3 through 12, and then we use Seesaw for those pre-K through 2. Brian Dean!
Hey there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Do you want to take over, or would you like me to keep presenting?
No, you can keep presenting, and then I'll take over when I switch to Canvas. So
Perfect.
cool. Hey guys, I'm so sorry that I'm a bit late. Welcome to this training. Chelsea, you were doing awesome sharing what that was, what an LMS is. So as she said, we've been using an LMS for years. So if you remember those compliance training, or, you know, I know you may still be in the throes of that. So that is actually in an LMS, in a learning management system. So Canvas is just another system that's a little more user-friendly and interacts with a lot of the systems that we use in Garland. Google Classroom and Seesaw can be called an LMS Lite, right? It's kind of like you're learning baby steps towards what a legitimate LMS is. So that's it, really. So, all right, what is next? Chelsea, you can go ahead and advance that if you want to. So we're going to talk first about being a co-teacher in Canvas. So there is a role within Canvas that's called a teacher assistant. So think back to when you were getting your master's, you know, you'd have like a TA, right? Somebody that you could talk to in lieu of your professor, right? So teachers themselves are actually referred to as instructors in Canvas. So a TA is a role within Canvas that you can work with and support a course, right? So TAs can view and moderate a course, and they can actually communicate with students inside of a course. So if you have been added as either a co-teacher or an actual teacher in Canvas, you actually have a lot of rights within that course. So there's a resource down there on the slide, and Chelsea, I believe they all have their own copy, right, of this. Okay, awesome.
They do.
Perfect. So let's say that you are a teacher or a co-teacher in a course with a general ed teacher. You can actually inbox a student. So like if there's a student within your within the class that you're working with, you can just message them. So you'd inbox them, and there's a link right there that shows you how to do that. So you're going to open that up. Again, you have the presentation, so don't feel like you have to memorize all of this or keep it all open on different tabs. You can come back and get it. So I also want to talk about this next role of assigning something to a specific student. And Chelsea, I'm going to actually take take over, if that's okay.
Totally okay.
Awesome. And share my screen here. All right. So inside of Canvas, you should see a course here. So I'm just going to pick this one-to-one coach course. We have all of our lovely one-to-one coaches at the high school. I know a lot of you guys probably work with elementary age students, but we have some awesome people out there. So I want to share with you something you can do. So again, this is if you are a co-teacher or a TA in Canvas. So you may see our colleague Martine. She's there. I see her happy face there in the chat. So this is actually Martine's course, but I'm in here as a TA or as a teacher assistant. Okay. So if I wanted to go in, I can add an assignment right here. Okay. So I'm going to add an assignment and I need to give it a name. So I'm just going to call this assignment. I'm going to say for Ashley and Ardell. So I only want to assign it to like 2 people. Okay. Because I'm not sure, you may not be working with the entire class, right? So when I add an assignment there, it says for Ashley and Ardell. Now they still can't see it, okay? So I need to go into it and I need to edit it, okay? And this is where I can give directions here to the student. So let them know, hey guys, I need you to meet me at this Google Meet link at 11 a.m. or something, whatever it is that you guys would say to them. Okay. Then you can come down here to everyone and take off everyone, and you can just do Ardell, and I think I said Ashley. So I'm just assigning that to 2 people. Okay. And then you do want to give it, a due date. So maybe, like a week later or something like that. Okay. So I'm not going to publish it since there's actually students in here and they'd be thinking, whoa, I have to meet Brian at 11 a.m. So I'm not going to do that. But that is how you could give them just a specific assignment to 2 or 3 or however many students that you actually need to give it to there. All right. So let's see here. I want to talk about this real quick. So Chelsea or Martine, if at any point you can't see my screen, just interrupt me. You will not anger me in the least bit. I just want to make sure everybody can see.
Got you covered.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so being a co-teacher, so TAs can do all of these things. I'm not going to read them all to you guys. I know you guys can read them, but just kind of take a gander at this so that you understand what TAs can and cannot do. Okay. So don't worry if you're added as a TA, you're not going to accidentally delete the course, because if you notice over here, a TA cannot delete the course, right? You cannot delete student groups, okay? So there are some benefits, just so you know that you're not going to accidentally get in there and mess something up. However, you can create assignments, right? Just like I showed you. You can manage course files. You could add things that your kiddos need to have, okay? Also, TAs can only view content for a course in which they're enrolled, meaning you can't go to every course that a teacher owns. You can only go to the specific courses that you've been given access to, okay? Also, you cannot submit work on behalf of students, nor can a TA submit a final grade for a student, okay? So they truly are a teacher assistant there, okay? So again, check out that inbox resource here and the assign to specific student resources there. Okay, so that is being a TA. I want to move now to starting your own course from scratch. Okay, so this is where I'm actually going to get away from the slide deck and I'm actually going to go model in Canvas, because I'm pretty sure some of you guys out there are going to want to have your own course as opposed to being a TA, okay? So I put this nice little GIF here, so when you come back to it, this GIF is actually modeling these 3 steps. Okay, so starting from the dashboard, you click Start New Course, you add the course details, and then you click Create Course. So those are those 3 steps, just kind of in repetition. Also, there's a resource here which walks you through with screenshots of how to do this. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and kind of show you. So here I am in Canvas. I'm going to click on the dashboard. So you can see I have 7 published courses and 4 unpublished. So that means that I'm just kind of like practicing and I'm playing around in these that I don't really have students in and things like that. So to start a new course, you're going to click Start a New Course, and let's give it a name. Okay, so I might, if I were a speech teacher, I might call it like Mr. Dean Speech. Okay. You can leave the content license as private, and that will kind of signal to people that, hey, this is my private course. If you were sharing this course to the commons, then you would want to attribute appropriately, but we're not going into that part in the training right now. So I think you're okay to say private. Again, you can choose to make the course publicly visible. I don't think we need to at this moment. So I'm going to click Create Course. And that's it. So you have now created a course. So again, to switch back to the slide deck, from that dashboard, okay, you click Start New Course, you add in your course details, and you click Create a Course. Okay, so now we're sitting here at our kind of course building phase. You'll notice right now that the course is unpublished, and that's good. There's nothing in it. Okay, so you have now a complete blank canvas, as they would say, a blank canvas inside of Canvas, right?
That was a great question, Brian.
Yeah.
Joke.
Oh, what's the, there's a question? Is that what you said?
No, I meant to say joke. I said question. I just laughed too hard at your joke.
Thank you. Thank you. I do what I can. I'm here all week. All right.
I'm actually going to take over presenting now, and we're going to work through adding. I did see a question in the chat. Why would I use a TA course? Why would I be a TA?
Okay.
That's just
question.
an option. Yeah.
Yeah, great question. So are we not doing the navigation, or is that your part? Sorry.
Oh, I'm going to go into that.
Okay, cool. So let me answer that TA question real quick. So the TA question, you would be a TA if that's just an option, like Chelsea said. If that's what you and your teachers or you and your campus decide, instead of you having your own course. Okay, to me, I don't know. I'm kind of ignorant on it. I'm not a speech path, so you guys might want to kind of talk about the benefits and the cons on that later on. So, all right, Chelsea, do you want me to present, or are you good presenting?
I just got so excited I jumped the gun, but I'll go ahead and present this since I already took it over, so you don't have to try and represent.
Got it.
What we're going to talk about now is simplifying navigation. So if you've already created your course, which I'm seeing a lot of you have already started creating your own courses, we want to talk about simplifying that navigation. I saw the question about, can students see each other? So that would be something that you might want to look at hiding on the navigation. So I'm going to model how to do this within a course. So again, Brian talked about a sandbox course. So I have a course here where I play around and see what things will look like. And then I have the course that my students are able to see. So to eliminate some of those links here on this left menu, you're going to go to Settings and then Navigation. And under Navigation right now, all of these items up here are ones that the students can see. I'm not sure what Destiny Library is, and I don't work with that nor my students. So right now I'm going to hide that. I can always unhide that later. So I'm going to click Disable. And right now you see it's not up there anymore. I also don't have my people up here, so the students aren't looking at people. Okay, and maybe for speech path, you're not giving grades. So you can also disable that. Now, if there's something I accidentally disabled that I want to have up here, I can always drag and drop. If I want these to be in a different order, I can always drag and drop as well. And the main thing is that you need to do is you need to click Save. Once I click Save, that will save all the changes I just made in my navigation. Now, if I go to my student view, I'll see that this left menu is a lot more student friendly. So my students are only saying 3 or 4 things over here. I don't know if we had any questions on that. And then we're going to just keep trugging along. Okay. Our next thing that we're going to talk about is pages versus assignments. Brian, did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Let me finish typing here. Let's see it there. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about pages versus assignments. So as you can see here, y'all, the primary function of a page is not a task, okay? It's to share information, right? So we get this, man, in our office hours, we get this question a lot. I assigned them a page and they can't turn anything in. Well, no, you didn't really assign a page, right? You created a page with information. So the primary function of an assignment is for the learner to do something, right? And then turn it in, and then potentially you get feedback. So again, I don't want to say that you guys in Speech Path will do something that you're not doing. I'm kind of trying to think of scenarios here. If as a Speech Path, let's say you have your own course, okay? But I'm not really sure if you give grades or if you really give assignments per se. So you might choose in your course to only have basically a page and make it a home page, right? Maybe you have a schedule and hey, this is where we're meeting. However, here's where the assignment could come in handy because I'm thinking back to my days teaching 5th grade and our awesome speech teacher, I don't know if she's in here, Sherry, maybe somewhere. Anyway, so she would see kids from the whole school, right? So what I could kind of see her doing is having her own course. And then remember how I showed you earlier to give assignments only to certain people. So then she could have an overall page that said, hey, welcome to, Mr. Dean's speech room. Okay. These are my office hours, or this is how you can get a hold of me. Well, then let me give a specific assignment to Johnny and Sally, who are my 5th grade speech kids, so that they know, hey, these are things relative to you, because we also want to keep things private, right? And I know there's a lot of IEP goals and things like that you may not want every kid who is your student to see about someone else. I don't know. What do you think, Chelsea? How did that sound?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. The pages is more like they're viewing something. They might interact by watching something, but they're not actually turning something back into you. So for your activities, if there's something that they're just looking at, or if there's something that you wanted them to do in the meantime between your next session with them, you might look at doing something like a page versus an assignment. We just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Speaking of a page, we're going to go ahead and add a page right now so you can see how to add that. And I'm going to create a new course, Brian. I know you already did, but I'm going to create a brand new one for me so that you can see this from the bottom up.
How dare you?
Oh my goodness. Yours looks beautiful, but I'm not a co-teacher on it. So I'll have to have a second.
Really?
So when you first start your course, this is what it would look like. If I want to add a page, I'm just going to click on pages. And then right now there's nothing. So I'm going to click add a page, and I'm actually going to call this my home page. And this will make sense in a second because I'm going to turn my home page into pages. You see right now this RCE, which they call the rich content editor, is really small. You can make this bigger by dragging over these dots so you have more space to work in. Okay, within the homepage, I can start adding things like images and links. But for you, for most of the work that you need to do, especially if you're doing your virtual therapy, a kid being in your Canvas course to get to that therapy, you must have somewhere for them to get to that Google Meet link, or if you're using Seesaw, for a way for them to get to Seesaw. So I'm going to start by embedding a couple of images here. And I put mine in a table because when it's in a table, the images will stay organized. And I hate when I save and the images get all messed up. So I'm going to go ahead and just call this one Google Meet link. Now, we're really big on using Meet links that are nicknamed. And I'm going to show you how you can link to that. But it's really important using the nickname because the kids can't come in and out. And as long as they have your nickname, they'll just go directly to meet.google.com and join that way. So I'm going to actually model the Meet link while I'm adding all these things in. Man, this is like I'm setting up a full-fledged classroom. I could use this tomorrow maybe. So I'm going to click join and start a meeting, and I'm going to call mine Cody's Cubs. My husband likes the Cubs, and it's kind of a play on words. It works for me. Now, I'm not going to do anything with copying this URL. If I give this URL to students, it nixes the capability that starts with me having a nickname. By using a nickname, students can't join the Meet until I am in there. And then whenever they leave, it kills that link. So if you see here, it ends in XIX. If I enter and leave, then it won't work anymore. So my students, I'm just going to teach them to go to the exact same website I did, meet.google.com. Okay, they can type it in, I can link to an image, but however that is. And then I might do something like group 1 and the nickname I just made. Now you could do this however you want. If all of your kids are in the same section and you want to assign the Meet link through an assignment and only give it to specific kids, you could do that. But the kids will just go, just like I said, to meet.google.com. Or you can link to this as well, which I'm going to grab this link now. And they'll type in that code to get in with you. And you as a teacher, you'll do the same thing. I'm going to actually add a row so I can put in an image. And I'm going to add an image here, and I'm going to link to the image. And I think, oh, I wouldn't have it in here yet. Let's see if I could just pull a random image. You can upload images from any other course if you have them as files. So you can see I have different images in here. I'm just going to grab an Upsplash maybe instead. But you could use a Meet logo, or if you created an image, you'll see later, we're going to provide you with some images I created. You could use those instead. So I'm just going to grab a random one. Virtual meeting. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, perfect. We'll use this image. For your kids, you'd probably want to use an actual Google Meets, but for this case, just what I'm doing, it works. I'm going to link to an external link. External link here means anything outside of Canvas. So if I was linking to something like activities or modules, I would choose this course links. But since I'm linking to Google Meets, which is actually outside, I'm going to drop in the meet.google.com. And now when my students come to this page, what they would see is that image. And when they click on the image, it would take them to the Meet. Except on the student side, it won't say join or start. It'll just say join or enter the code. Okay. And then I want to talk for just a second about Seesaw. So those of you that are at the secondary level, this won't necessarily apply to you. But I really want to give a little focus to our Seesaw group, because if you are having students complete things in Seesaw or access activities in Seesaw, there's actually 2 links that are very important that you include. And I'm going to drop these links in the chat now, because if you have some students that are on a mobile device, they will use one link. And if you have some students who are on a web browser, which would be like a Chromebook, a laptop, they would use another link. The first link there, the mobile app, is for the class app. So it's any device that would use the actual Seesaw application. So whenever you go to add your image, you would just add in 2 different images for Seesaw, okay? And you don't have to link directly to your class. Both of these take them to the Seesaw login, and then they will log into Seesaw. Just wanted to talk about that briefly. Let me see how we're doing. Okay, now that I have my homepage, pretend this is beautiful. Pretend it looks like what you would want your students to see when they come in, very welcoming. Okay, maybe I would have an image of myself, more information, but pretend that this is already looking great. Whenever I saved it, I already clicked publish. But if you just clicked save, you see here it says publish. Your students can't see anything you don't publish. Okay, in order to set a homepage, you have to publish this page. Okay, I'm also going to click the 3 dots and choose view, excuse me, I'm going to set it as my front page, not from there. I'm going to do it from view all pages, the 3 dots. And I'm going to use this as my front page of my pages. Okay, so now it says home page, front page. But if I look at my home, I still don't have a front page. Okay, from your home, you can choose your home page. And in this course, I'm going to choose the one that I just created, which is my pages front page. And it is now my home page. So if I go to my student view, when my students come in, this is the very first thing that they would see. So my home page would be the very first thing that they see. And I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Brian.
All right. Let me share my screen. So I know we're kind of switching back and forth, but what we're going to talk about next is creating a module. So I want to put this up just to kind of get our bearings. So Chelsea just showed you to set a home page. So now we're going to talk about creating a module in Canvas. Okay. So let me talk for a second about what it is. So a module contains other things like pages and like assignments. So you can see in this GIF that's coming up here, this teacher, it looks like, has organized it by weeks. So a module might be week 1, week 2, things like that, okay? If I were teaching 5th grade back in the classroom again, that's probably what I would do, all right? So let's talk about creating a module. So I'm going to hop over here to my test course, okay? So just pretend that I already have a rockin' homepage like Chelsea just showed you what to do. So I'm going to go over here to modules though, and you'll notice it says, hey, it prompts me create a new one, okay? So I'm going to call this week 1, and I think it was actually August 10th through 15th. I really like this feature. If you choose lock until, like if you're working ahead of your kids, you can choose lock until a certain date. So that, i.e. the kids won't see it. So if you already have kids in your course and you're kind of building out your lesson plans for like the next month or so, if you do this, the kids will not be able to access them. So that's kind of a cool feature. All right, so now I have a module, week 1, and it tells me again, hey, drag files here to add them or choose files, okay? So I'm not a teacher in Chelsea's course, but I can add an assignment or I can pull in a page, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and add a new assignment. I'm gonna give it a name, or actually I may do a discussion as the first thing, okay? So the topic is going to be introductions, okay? Right, indent it 1 level, and then I'm going to add an item, okay? So when I go into this discussion and see, I know it's a discussion because it's a little chat bubble. So I can now edit the discussion, okay? So I can say, please tell the class your name and one of your favorite things to do. Then reply to a classmate and encourage them. You can attach an attachment if you need to do that. You can allow threaded replies in a discussion, meaning kids can respond. I like this feature that a user must post before seeing any replies. I like that option there. Okay. And then it's available from now, and you can make it available, we'll say like a week out. Okay. And then save and publish. So now when I go back to my module, here is week 1, and then inside of that week 1 module is a discussion. Okay, so then same thing, if I need to add something else, I click the plus sign, and now I could add, say, an assignment or a file. So if there's a document that you want to give to your kids that they can work with, you could add a file, okay, and upload that. Or you can just add, like I was saying, an assignment or an external URL to like a Google Meet. So basically, y'all, a module contains pages, assignments, quizzes, your learning activities there. Okay. So as usual, we
Brian, real
provided
quick,
a resource. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I have a couple of questions over here.
Oh, yeah. Let's take them.
I just wanted to say really quickly, these questions are all really good, and we're going to have some Q&A at the end. So we're doing our best to answer these, but some of them are going back to Google Meet. So I was just going to let you know that really quickly. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So Chelsea, could I use one Google Meet code to keep open all day long? Okay. Yes. So this is a bigger topic. So like, we definitely need to.
We will
to
totally
discuss
come
that
back
at
to this
some point.
question. Yes.
So it says, Brian, no, I haven't set up the. Oh, that's something else. Okay, cool. All right, y'all. So that is creating a module. I did want to share that on the bottom of that slide is a resource, again, talking about adding modules. If you haven't explored the Canvas guides, they are so helpful. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Digital learning wasn't trained on Canvas. Now, luckily, we love technology and we love diving in, but we are learning so much from the guides. So I want to shout out to, who is it in the chat that did the sections? Oh my goodness. Anyway, major shout out there to building sections. I hadn't actually done that. So that's awesome. I learned something there. So awesome. Yes, YouTube is great.
Yes, lots of videos. So what we're going through with you today, we've kind of fine-tooth combed down to what works the best for what we've seen. After showing you how to create everything from scratch, I just wanted to let you know I created a template with some of the pretty parts already. So if you're a teacher that's like starting my own homepage with images, linking to Seesaw, all of that, it's a little bit overwhelming. And I don't know where to start. Or if you're looking at another teacher's Canvas and you're thinking, that's so beautiful, I want to have that myself. Canvas has this awesome thing called the Canvas Commons. So I'm going to show you how to actually import the course that I put in there. On your slides, if you click on this link right here, it takes you to how to use the Commons, and then one of these takes you to the actual course I created. Again, in no way is this something that we are telling you have to use. Okay, you would go back to your coordinator. So on some of these questions you're asking about HIPAA or FERPA, you want to direct those back to your coordinator because they will have the best information there. We're just talking about some ways that you could use Canvas. So to make this course pretty, okay, I'm going to go find this course from the Commons. So I'm inside one of my courses that I want the material to show up in, and I'm going to click Import from Commons. And then I know that there's a course called GISD Speech because I just looked at it. And I'm going to type that in, and there it is right here. So then I can click on that course, and I can import everything here into my course. So here it's telling me there's 3 modules. So maybe if you had 3 different groups, okay, maybe you have activities under each of those. Okay, there's an assignment, just a model of what an assignment underneath one of those modules would look like. And then there are pages. Okay, there's a home page. I can look at it and see what it looks like. I can make it my own. So I'm going to go ahead and click import, and I'm going to choose the course I would like it to be in. And then it's saying you have successfully started the import. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my dashboard. I'm going to check this course. Maybe it's gotten pretty already. We'll see. May not. Let's. And it hasn't come in yet. We'll see if it does. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. So it might not show up magically before your guys' eyes. But once I click import, I will see those changes eventually. It looks like it's still processing because we've got a lot of people on Canvas. But once I've imported that course, it will automatically change things like my home page. It will add other pages from that course as well. You can also import existing content from other courses. So if you started building in your sandbox course and it's something that you like, you can click import existing content. And then I can choose to copy from one of my Canvas courses. And let's see if it'll come up. See if I can just get down to mine. And then I can choose either all content or specific content. And when I choose specific, I can go and choose, do I want pages? Do I want files? Do I want topics? What do I want to pull in? And I'm going to go ahead and choose pages. And then it's queued, which means there's other things being processed by Canvas right now. And it's running. Let's see if anything has changed yet. View all pages. And some of that info came in. So if I really wanted, I can come and now make this my front page. And when I go home, I have my information there and it's beautiful. Okay, you could go in and edit this page and make it what you want, but it's a starting point. Okay, also wanted to show you really quickly a couple of other resources that you guys can reach out to. I'm going to copy this link. Okay, we want to make sure that you guys get credit for hanging out with us today. Hopefully this will work. I don't know if this is going to paste right. Okay, so you can go ahead and fill out that form for attendance, and then our digital learning team website is a wealth of knowledge. Okay, we have put a lot of information on this site. So I'm going to show you a couple of things you might want to look at as a speech path. Okay, on this first page, it shows right away our Conquering Canvas. We have support hours that you guys are always welcome to come into. This document shows our most up-to-date support hours. It also has a Flipgrid that's having issues today. But if you click on this link, it would take you and you can put in a video recording. It looks like 0 responses, but that's because we have it closed so that nobody else sees your response. So we have lots of people that record a video and then we send a personalized video back to you. On our Canvas page, we have how-tos, we have checklists, we have things to walk through that are resources for you. And we also have our, let's see if I can find them, our digital learning team newsletters, okay? These come out every other week, every 2 weeks or so, okay, with more information for you. And it's just loading slow. I'm having a slow computer over here. So this newsletter has tips and tricks, the Google Meet nicknaming that we just talked about. It's on one of our pages as well, a video to walk you through how to do those nicknames. But now that we've kind of gone through everything today, I want to go ahead and take a minute to answer some questions. The title of this webinar, Getting Started with Canvas, should be on the drop down.
I wanted to share, also, I posted a link to a click sheet on Google Meets there. So you guys want to open that, you can see it. It tells you how to create a link that students cannot join until you get in. And then also they cannot rejoin after you leave. So just sharing that with you there. And then of course there is a video as well that Chelsea mentioned, but it's linked on that document that I shared also.
Okay, and we are here for a couple of questions. If you have a question that you want to type in the chat, I know we wanted to clarify a little bit on the Google Meet links. I had some questions there. Yeah,
I think we did that. I don't know if you can hear me or not, Chels. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
cool. I just addressed that with the document. Are you wanting to actually model it though? Or?
No. I know that they had a question about HIPAA, so I was just going to say,
I don't know that.
Kathy, yeah. I know you're in here, so when they're asking those questions, those may be things that you address with them once we are gone, or if there's something you'd like us to clarify with that.
Okay, so Lori Kane. Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can clarify that later. I may need to get some guidance from our consultants at Region 10. They've been guiding us in the virtual therapy world because there's so many rules that that govern teletherapy, and we have to make sure we're doing everything
absolutely
appropriately. So I'm probably going to have to look into it.
From my perspective, though, like let's say you had one course with several speech kids, if you just hide the people tab where they can't see that the other kids are in there, that's protecting right there. And then also when you make an assignment, if you just do it to the kids who need to get it, then nobody else can see it as well. But okay, so Lori said, I tried to assign an all about me activity, and I wanted the students to have options about completing it and turning it in. I wanted them to be able to either insert text or pictures on slides. Okay. I couldn't figure out how to offer both of those options in Canvas. Okay. Yes, you can give options. Yes, you can. I can find a document for that on how to do that. Or literally, we are late to our office hours. Our office hours started at 3 o'clock, but we're late. So you could come over there and we could walk through it with you when we finish here. But I know Martine is in there as well. Okay. Let's see. How do we invite students for our caseload? Okay. Does admin have to add kids? No, they do not. So you can invite them by, when you create your course, you click on people and there's a plus sign that says you can add them. But again, go to those Canvas guides, that link, and let me drop that link in there. And you can literally type that question into Canvas guides and find it. So that link I just posted is to the Canvas guides. I would bookmark that site. Incredible resources. There is a Spanish site as well. So if you have maybe families who speak Spanish, there is a Spanish guides Canvas site as well. What else?
Sarah asked another question, Brian, about the Google Meet nickname. So the important thing there is if you're using the nickname, you don't have to give them a URL. Like the only thing that you would do is tell them to go to meet.google.com.
Yep.
And Sarah, other Sarah, that's what creates them not being able to come in until you are there. So they would use the nickname. So let's say if you had 3 different groups, you would create 3 separate nicknames. And then even when you go to join that meet, you would go to meet.google.com and you would put in a nickname.
So that document that I shared you guys, it goes through it entirely on how to do it. Then there's also a step-by-step video here. But check this out. I mean, literally there's screenshots that would show you guys how to do it there.
And Whitney, you are correct. That is exactly correct. They can only come in with a nickname if they are using their GISD email. But once you're in the link, if a parent asks to come in, just like you saw today, I can allow them to come in. So we had somebody try to join with their non-Garland account and it let them in. And I don't want to cut us off too early. Go ahead, Brian.
I just want to answer real quick for Michelle. You know how to add one email and create one. Awesome. You don't need to go to calendar. Like, I know you can. So just like with a lot of things, there's more than one way to do something. Y'all, I would follow the directions on that sheet. I'd go to meet.google.com and I'd create that link there. I understand you can do it in Google Calendar, but I don't I don't do it that way. You can if you want to. You don't have to. I would just go straight to meet.google.com.
Okay, well, if you guys have any more questions, you are welcome to ask Miss Kathy, who can send them our way. Or like Brian said, we just shared with you our office hours every day from 3 to 4.
I just want to take an opportunity, Chelsea, to thank you and thank Brian for coming to help us out. This has been very beneficial. I really, really appreciate it. Sure. I know y'all are super, super busy, and I appreciate your time with us.
Absolutely. Everyone's busy, you know what I mean? And it's such a crazy time. We're happy to help. Yeah, anything we can do.
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right. Well, have a great rest of your day. And Miss Kathy, I will send this recording over to you